She said, we'll have class assignments and everybody been grouped with projects. She said, Tamara been left her group and over in the other groups telling the other kids what to do. Like, baby, get back to your group. You got a whole group over here. Hey guys.
Welcome back
to the You're Not Crazy podcast.
Or maybe you are, but you're in good company.
You are in great company. Hey guys, welcome back to the You're Not Crazy podcast.
Where if you are in great company.
Yes, you are. My name is Tam.
And I am Anna.
And welcome. We know that we have some new subscribers joining us, some new people watching us. So hello, if you're new to the channel. This is a motherhood podcast where we talk about life. We talk about everything that we're going through from the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we just like sitting here talking with you guys, being transparent and talking about where we are in life. We are business owners. We run an education and consulting business together, as well as we're best friends, and we both have 3 kids. And so there's a lot to discuss amongst all those topics. So with that being said, we are currently eating leftover Valentine's Day candy, so we just chilling, relaxing. So if y'all want to go grab y'all some little snacks, sit on the couch and watch us, you can do that. Back. Yes. So we were talking about what we want to talk about today, and Anna was like, I think we should just talk about like what we've been going through and what we've been dealing with. Because between the two of us, we can both say that 2024 already has been like, oh, this what we doing? Right, glass tilt. Like, what is really happening? And so,
came in and kicked the door down.
And kicked my behind along with it, okay? Listen, kicked the door and me at the same time.
I mean, just knocked us out. Mm-hmm. Just knocked us straight on out.
Very much. You know how when your grandma used to give you some Benadryl or something, and you be asleep, and then you wake up and don't know where you were and what time you fell asleep. That's how I feel. Like I woke up and I'm like, wait, what day is it? What time is it? What year is it? Yes. So anyway, we were just gonna get on here and just kind of talk about what we have going on and what's been happening. And some tears may fall, but at this point, y'all already know what the deal is. Y'all already know what the deal is.
And if you don't, just go back
a few episodes. You'll see. Just go back to the following episode. You will see. Or the previous episode. But I will say, we want to tell you all thank you, because we've had so many positive comments and feedback on like just how what we're saying is impacting you all. And that means more than you know, because this was scary for us. Extremely. We just knew that we were supposed to do this, but we didn't know how it was going to turn out, if people were going to even be interested in watching. But God is showing us time and time again that when we're obedient, that He's going to get the glory. And that's all that matters to us, is that you all gain something from watching this. And or if it's you just got a good laugh for the day, or man, that was a real good talk I needed, or man, I needed to hear that because that's helping me currently in my life, helping me heal, whatever the case may be. We're grateful for that. So without further ado, did you want to start off?
If I'm honest, I hate talking with food in my mouth. I don't know what. Oh.
I'm sure mine too.
But I think I wouldn't say that I wasn't excited about 2024, but I think 2023 was exhausting for a lot of people, and I physically was exhausted from 2023, well, in life, but from 2023, even like leading up to the new year, like I just felt like this all year. I felt like I was on a hamster wheel, but the thing about a hamster wheel is that you don't go anywhere. So I felt like I was exhausting myself. I wouldn't say for nothing, but not for a lot. It kind of felt like, I don't know, it felt like, even myself and my husband have talked about it, like it just felt like we were doing so much, but almost feeling like, but what are we really doing? Like, we know what we're doing, but it just felt like it was just
going in circles.
Yes, like it was so much. Or you feel like I'm working a lot. We're doing all of this. We have this, that, and the other. The planners are filling up. We're trying to manage home. We're trying to do all of that, but still feeling like there are needs that still needed to be met, if that makes sense. I don't mind like feeling busy and being all over the place if I still know that what I'm doing is meeting a need within my home. Mm-hmm. And it felt like there were still needs that we had to figure out how to get them to be met in the midst of it. So it's almost just like, Lord, why am I doing all this if I still need stuff afterwards? Like, and then too, I think a lot of times when you're an entrepreneur, my husband is also an entrepreneur as well. So both of us being entrepreneurs, we're already in the mindset of you have to work as if you're making money before you make money, if that makes any sense. And it's difficult to be doing because we feel like we are doing what newlyweds without kids would be doing right now, but we're doing it after being married for 7 years with 3 kids. So it's like, it feels like we literally went like this and are starting our life over in a weird way. And that it was really, really, really tough just feeling like you weren't exhausting yourself, but still not having what you need at the end of the day, even if it's just energy. And so going into 2024, I honestly was just like, I didn't really have much until I think I felt a release from God that was saying, I just want you to be yourself. And that sounds really cute, but a lot of times when we hear things from God or hear those type of things, it is freeing in the moment until you realize, oh, I have to walk that out. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't just be like, oh, I'm just going to be Anna. And it's like, okay, great. Now, first you have to define who she is. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, oh, shoot. Like, I ain't got time. So now I got to figure out, I feel like I'm trying to figure out, what does she like? What music does she still want to listen to? Like, how does she dress? What does she want to eat? Does she like working out? What workouts does she want to do? Does she like her size? If she doesn't, how is she going to be the size that she wants to be? Like, what type of parent is Anna? Like, what type of wife is Anna? What type of sister? What type of daughter? Like, what type of friend? Like, who is she? And so in the midst of that, I feel like, I'm like, Lord, you just gave me like a 12-month homework assignment. Like, I wasn't really looking into that, like looking for that. But at church, like at the same time where that's happening, this year is the year of divine access. Like, that's for our church. I don't, anyways. And so that's what our leader has released over the house. And so in the midst of that, I'm like, okay, so if Anna is going to have access to all of these different places, what version of her is showing up? So now I'm like, it felt good to hear that, because it felt like it was finally time for us to reap what we have sown. And it's not that I haven't seen that. Like, God is definitely opened doors to things. I think I'm just in a place where I'm like, okay, Lord, like I see what you're doing. I hear what you're saying. I'm going to be working on myself and doing all of that. But these needs still need to be met. And so how do I match my spiritual with my natural in this moment? Because the reality is, we are hustling as if we are like 25-year-old newlyweds. And the reality is, we are in our 30s with 3 kids. And so I have to be able to hustle and show up as a mother to my 3 children, and show up as a wife, and show up as there's a lot that comes with that. So if you don't give me access to anything else, can you at least give me access to peace and joy? And strength, because this is taking a lot. We've lived without, right? And I truly believe that this is our last year of life, which I've talked to you about that. But when I mean lack, I don't just mean in my finances. I mean of everything. Like, I have struggled with peace. I've struggled with strength. I've struggled with joy. And I refuse to go through, not into, but through another year lacking those things. For me, I want, the finances are definitely needed, and I know they're there, and I know that they're waiting to be released. I already feel that in my spirit. However, as much as I'm excited about the finances and being able to like kind of take that load off of us, I know that without the wisdom, without the strength, without the joy, and without the peace, those finances are going to mean absolutely nothing. And I won't be able to truly enjoy the freedom that God has for me. So I'm kind of in a weird headspace. It's a hopeful headspace, but it isn't a headspace that's just like kind of like looking at God like this, like, all right, now I'm literally I'm taking this step by step with you. I'm not going to rush the process. And I truly believe that I'm going to see it before the year is out. I don't think I'm going to have to wait till December to finally be like, oh God, there it is. However, I want to be in the place and ready to receive it so that I don't miss it, number one. But number two, so that I can take care of it and I can multiply it the way that God has seen fit for it to be done. Because I also believe, as if you have not noticed, we are believers. So I also believe that as a believer, it's not enough for me just to get and just to receive. That God gives onto us so that we can pour out to others. And so if I'm not in the right headspace, and if I'm only thinking about myself and what I can receive from God in this moment, then I'm going to miss also the opportunities that God has for me to release for someone else to receive what they've been waiting on God for, right? So I think I'm in a place where I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm going to literally just have to take this step by step with you, because I have lived many years being, I guess, under the stone, and now the stone has become turned. The stone has been turned. So now I'm like, well, now that I'm out here, now that I have gotten the courage to step out and be out here, God, I need you to now lead me where I'm supposed to go, because I don't want to just be out here just to be out here. Because if I'm going to be out here just to be out here, I could have stayed up under my stone and would have still been uncomfortable, but still nobody would have seen it. Nobody would have heard. Like, it would have just been passed over. But now that you're putting me in a space where, and now on a platform where I'm out there and not in my own hole, is what I mean by that. Now I need you to, now I'm in a place of being open and receiving what it is that you have for me in these moments, but being okay with going step by step and not rushing the process, because I don't want to rush into something that I'm not prepared for, because then I'll find myself, as soon as I get it, I'll see it slip out of my hands. And what I need, it can't slip. Like, I need it to stay. And so that's kind of where I'm at. If that's in a very long explanation, that's me. That's where I'm at right now.
Well, no, I appreciate you opening up about that, because I think a lot of us, if we're honest, we realize that when you get to a certain place, you realize that, yes, finances are great, and you want to be able to live in a place where you're not worried about, okay, how are we going to take care of this? But when you get older, you start realizing that, yeah, okay, great, I need the money to pay my bills, but I also need peace of mind. I need this and that. And I think you sent this video to me on Instagram with the lady, there was a young lady speaking and saying how it's not going to take the whole year for God to do. Was that you who said that? It's not going to take the whole year for God to do what he said he's going to do. We're so used to saying, God, you're going to do this in 2020. You're going to do this in 2021. We're going to just see this in 2021. And then we're like, okay, well, it's going to happen throughout the year. No, she's saying, this lady, and she heard from God to share this on the platform on Instagram. But she was saying that it's not going to take the entire year. You're going to see it before the year's over. It's not going to take the entire year. Excuse me. So I received that for myself and my family, because I'm like, Lord, absolutely, because we need you to do this thing and do it suddenly, do it quickly. And so I appreciate you sharing that, because I think a lot of people can relate to that. as you get older. Babe, I just need peace of mind. I need that joy. Because regardless of what's happening and what's going on around me, I need to still be at a place mentally where I can keep trucking. But if I'm downtrodden, I'm hurting, I'm upset, I can't move forward because I'm so stuck where I am mentally. So I appreciate you sharing that. Now to get into what Tamara's dealing with. So I know a few people who watch this channel also watch my channel. And I did a very, very transparent video last week about where I was. And so I'll kind of expound upon that here on this video because we're having girl talk. I have been extremely overwhelmed since 2020 started. 2020, not 2020, Lord. Since 2024 started. Yes. I have been extremely overwhelmed. And it's not even a negative overwhelm, it's like I'm overwhelmed. There's a lot going on. All good things, right? Being a mother is not a bad thing. Being a wife is not a bad thing. Being a business owner is not a bad thing. But these are the things that have me overwhelmed. Being in ministry is not a bad thing. But these are the things that have me overwhelmed. Because of the expectation. Because of the expectation and the pressure. So in therapy, I actually work this out in therapy quite often. I probably revisit this feeling probably every quarter. And one of the things that I always talk about with my therapist is the pressure and the fear of failure. And I know where the root of that stems from because I didn't really become performance oriented or I didn't really base my value a lot on my performance. And what I mean by performance, I ain't talking about getting on the stage. I'm talking about how I present myself, how I do the things that I do in these different roles that I play. My values started being based upon that. And I struggled for probably over the past 15 years in that area. And so areas where I struggle probably the most is in motherhood and probably motherhood first, our business that we run, and then ministry. I don't struggle so much when it comes, I do struggle with it as a wife, but not as much because I have a very good husband who extends a lot of grace to me and we have open communication. I could talk to him because he's my best friend. I could talk to him better than I can in a situation in my business or in my, in the ministry or in, when it comes to motherhood. My 9-year-old can only articulate so much about how he's feeling. And so, or my 6-year-old, and the 4-month-old, all he want to know is where the milk at. So there's that. But I have been processing all of these feelings because I feel overwhelmed because I feel like I'm not doing enough and I feel like I'm not good enough. And that's where we get back to that whole value thing. Like, I don't feel like I'm doing enough and that makes me feel like I'm not enough. And I struggle in that area. I question a lot of things. I'm like, I feel like a failure. I feel like a failure because, well, this is not happening. This is happening. And, or when you invite people into your space, one thing about me, I'm very, very self-aware. So a lot of times when people offer criticism, I've already had that conversation with myself already. So it's just either A, confirmation, or B, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see that. And I have allowed people in all of those areas, right? I have allowed my son to express how he feels about mommy and how I mother them, if that's a thing, mother them. I've allowed our employees to give their input on things that's going on. And then also I've allowed people in ministry that I serve with to give their honest opinion about how I serve them as their leader. And so in that's where all the pressure, thank you, Holy Spirit, you're revealing to me why I feel the pressure. But because I've opened myself up to receive that so that I can be better, now the pressure, I've applied to myself. Just because they said these things, that doesn't mean that I have to put that pressure on myself, but I have. And I'm struggling in that area because naturally I'm a people pleaser. So I want to make everybody happy. Now, don't get me wrong. The Lord has delivered me and brought me a mighty long way when it comes to people pleasing. But there's still a little piece of that in me. It's just kind of wired in who I am. I naturally want the people around me to feel happy, feel loved, feel appreciated. I want them to know that I care about them. I want them to know that I value their opinion, things like that. And so it's hard. It's very, very hard because you want to make everybody you love or you care about or people that you have a relationship with, whether it be work relationship or not, you want them to feel appreciated. You want them to feel like you got them. And I didn't realize how many leadership roles I have. I have a lot of leadership roles. Like, I look at them like, okay, this is a lot. And I've never been one. Okay, so I've always been a natural leader. Just if you met me when I was in 4th grade, my 4th grade teacher had my mom laughing when we had a conference one time. And she said, if I could get Tamara to focus on her area, her group. She said, we'll have class assignments and everybody's in group with projects. She said, Tamara been left her group and over in the other groups telling the other kids what to do. Like, yeah, and like, baby, get back to your group. You got a whole group over here. Well, yeah, I don't talk to them. We don't figure out what we're going to do now. Let me go help everybody else. So I've always been a natural leader. But as I got older, I shied away from it because I felt like I wasn't good enough. And I've never desired to be out in the forefront, like leading people. I'm cool with being active, a part, like serving, like what we going to do. You know what I'm saying? And people assume because I have a background in theater that I like being in front of people. I actually do not like it. When I'm in front of people as a character, I'm that character. I'm not Tamara.
It's completely different.
It's different. I can get in front of y'all and play the little old grandma Miss Jenkins that I play on my channel because I'm playing a character. You're not having to accept me. If you don't like Miss Jenkins, you don't like Miss Jenkins. But if I get in front of you, now I got to deal with if you don't like me. And it's so different. And I really have gotten to a place now where I'm like, okay, Lord, you literally keep pushing me to the front. And I'm out here. And now where are you? Because I feel, almost sometimes I feel abandoned. And I'm like, Lord, I don't like this feeling. I don't like feeling all of this pressure to be perfect. Because I have expressed this. I feel like in certain areas, I don't get the grace to fall. I don't get the grace to make a mistake. I feel like I'm heavily judged, and I don't know what it is about my personality per se, but I feel like in like a lot of my circles, I'm heavily judged, and I don't feel like I have grace to make a mistake. And that it makes me really sad, and it makes me shut down and pull away because I feel like if I can't just be Tamara and not have to worry about you judging what I'm saying or why she said it like that, or if I feel like I gotta perform in your presence, I don't want to be around you. And I'm like, Lord, I can't shut down in these spaces because you called me to these spaces. So how do I deal with that? How do I deal with that? And then as a mom, I'm like judging myself because I'm like, okay, Lord, am I passing down toxic traits to my kids? Am I teaching them that the only way you communicate is to yell at them? Am I teaching them that it's okay to lash out? Am I teaching my kid that, his opinion doesn't matter, that his voice doesn't matter, and that I don't want to hear what you got to say because I said go sit down? Like, what am I teaching my son? And then I beat myself up about that. And then, what am I telling my employees if I expect you to be there on time, but I'm showing up late because I'm all over the place? What am I telling them? And yes, I'm very transparent with them. We are very transparent with our employees, but it still bothers me because I'm like, dang, okay, I expect you to be here at 9, but I'm walking in at 9:15 and you don't care that my son just had a meltdown before I got in the house or before I got to work, or that when I woke up this morning, my stomach was in knots because of whatever. That's irrelevant. The standard is the standard. So now all of these things are bubbling up on the inside of me. And it may be one incident, maybe another incident, but that one incident is enough to wreck my whole week because I'm like, dang, You know what I'm saying? Like, dog, Tamara, you got to do better. And it's like, but Tamara, have grace. You have a 4-month-old at home. Mm-hmm. And so I had these inner conversations with myself where I'm fussing at myself and then I'm like trying to be, and it just bump heads. And in the midst of that, the little girl in me is going, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And so that's where I am. That's where I'm struggling. And I actually, just being completely transparent, I reached out to Anna yesterday. We have a very funny relationship in how we talk on the phone because we do have 3 kids. So, like, we get it in between when we can. Like, I might Marco Polo her. I don't know if y'all have heard of that app. It's like a live video recording app where you could talk to the person. They can watch it while you're talking to them. I use that with her because she refuses to get an iPhone. I just don't understand. She want to stick with the Android. I've been trying to tell her, you just get an iPhone. We can do FaceTime. And that will make things so much easier. But she ain't trying to do that. So, whatever. Anyway, eventually she's going to have an iPhone. We'll see. We're going to get to that. So, we were talking and I messaged her and I woke up yesterday very grateful because Friday, what did we do on Friday? No, nothing was done on Friday. But nothing was done on Friday, but Friday evening, I had this mood swing that when I say it came and knocked me up the side of my head out of nowhere, I was like, whoa. And it kind of started from an indecisive moment of trying to figure out what I was going to eat for dinner. And it just spiraled from there. It spiraled. Oh, it spiraled. And I was not, thank you. I was not okay. Like, I was not okay. And I said, okay.
You're okay.
Okay. You're I was not okay. And I went to bed in tears. And that happens to me a lot where I'll go to bed literally crying. And my husband will be talking to me and his voice is calming to me. So I usually fall asleep and he gets mad because he's like, I'm talking to you. And I'm like, but your voice is so calming. I'll be knocked out. So I remember waking up Saturday morning and going, okay, I feel a sense of gratitude. And I felt the need to reach out to specific individuals to let them know what they meant to me. And Anna was one of them. And I believe in giving people their flowers while they're here. Because you don't know the time nor the hour. That what your Bible say. Okay. You don't know the time or the hour. And so for me, I feel that it's important that you show the people. And I didn't always do a good job of that. Like, I didn't, because my way of showing love is acts of service. That's like the main way I show love. And so I put it in my head. I said, you know what? I'm going to message Anna and I'm going to let her know I'm so grateful for her. And I went into, other personal things, but I said that to say, as girlfriends, as sisters, as whatever relationship you have with your girls, value that because it is important. And if you don't have that, start praying and asking God because it is important for you to have somebody that you can bounce this type of stuff off of. The stuff that Anna said to you all, I already knew that. The stuff that I'm telling, she already knew that because we can talk to each other and have that relationship to say, okay, yeah, I may only have 5 minutes, but girl, give it all to me you can in 5 minutes. And then I'm going to send a prayer via voice message later. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever we got to do, that's just the nature of our relationship right now because of our kids being as young as they are. And just us, both of us being hustling. We in hustle mode. Like you said, like we did the opposite. You know what I'm saying? But I said that to say, you got to find somebody you can talk to and not just your therapist and not just your husband. You know what I'm saying? Not just your boyfriend. Find somebody that you can actually talk to, that you can relate to, because it's important that you can bounce these things off. People are going through real life stuff. People are going through people are getting divorces. People are leaving toxic relationships. People are
with nothing.
With nothing. People are getting evicted from their homes. People are losing family members and loved ones. People are going through real life stuff. Yeah, the new year started, but that doesn't stop the things that people are dealing with. It's still going to happen. It's still happening. And so you got to find somebody that you can trust, that you can talk to. And that may take time if you don't have someone, but build towards that. Start doing things to build towards that. So, I think it's important, and I believe that this conversation is encourager for you all to sit down and have some girl talk. Listen, use the comment section for girl talk. If you got to say something, let's talk. Let's go back and forth, because we do read the comments and we do try to respond as much as we can, because you just don't know. And we've also talked about going live, just to have live conversations with you all. But yeah, you know, you got to do that, because at the end of the day, it is not healthy to suppress and or keep everything inside. You got to talk to somebody. And like I said, not just a therapist, because they are unbiased. They're listening to you. They're helping you process your emotions. They're not here to be your friend. Okay? You got to find a friend. That's all. What a friend we have in Jesus. Yes, he loves us, but he also wants you to have friends too. He doesn't want you to be lonely. He didn't design us to be lonely.
We were never designed to be that way.
No. If that was the case, it would just be Adam or just be Eve, right? We're not designed to be alone. And so don't get caught up and pulled into an area where you like, I just ain't fooling with people. Because that's a defense mechanism. And that's a whole nother conversation. That is a defense mechanism. You hear people say, I just don't fool with folks. Okay. Why not? Oh, because they just said, okay, so that means you got some healing you need to do. Because the fact that you sit in a corner by yourself all day long and you're like, it's one thing to be an introvert. And I know that people throw that term out so much. Oh, I'm an introvert, girl. It's too much. It's an excuse. Because introverts.
It's used as an excuse.
It is.
Because.
It is. And introverts have friends. Just because you're introverted doesn't mean you have friends. That just means you prefer to be by yourself at certain times. But all introverts still interact with people. And so for you to say, oh, I don't fool with folks. You need to deal with that. You need to figure out what's going on and why. And or seek some counseling, okay?
And if you keep having if you have gone to multiple different groups of friends or groups of people and find yourself having the same result happen, then that means that you need to look inward to figure out why are you attracting that, or why are you attracted to that. Because sometimes it is you. Sometimes it's you, and that you have maybe a toxic mindset, and so you attract other toxic people. But sometimes it's you, and that you're a person that toxic people are attracted to because of who you are, not as a negative, but as a positive, that maybe who you are as a person is a giver, is a lover, is a person who will be kind, a person who can look past people's faults, right? And you're forgiving. And so most people who we deem as toxic are just hurt. And so finding someone who doesn't repeat that cycle for them is enticing. And so they're going to want to latch themselves onto you. However, if you find yourself so engulfed in those type of situations to where you're poor, giving, and you end up without at the end of the day, then now you don't have a group of friends or group of people who can pour back into you. Right. So now you end up needing time and space alone. And what do people who are not willing to work on themselves, who are toxic, they automatically call you the problem. Like, why are you distancing yourself? Oh, you think you too good. And it's like, no, I'm depleted. Like, I'm tired. I can't, I don't have anything else to give, because you have literally took everything that I have. And so it's not saying that you have to stop being yourself and being able to draw people like that, because God gave you that gift of being a drawer of people for a reason, right? You just have to make sure that you surround yourself with people who are going to be pouring into you, so that when you do get around people who are going to be pulling from you, they're not pulling from an empty place. They're also not pulling from your supply. So you have to make sure that your supply is filled, so that you have their supply ready for them. But if your supply is gone and their supply is gone, or if they use up their supply first, they're going to start pulling from yours. And if you have nothing that's kind of helping to fill up those two different supplies for whomever needs that, you're going to find yourself depleted, empty, and alone. And then you're going to think, what is wrong with me that people don't stay, right? So I think in those moments where you feel like you keep hitting the same, you keep ended up at the same door, right? The same situation. Look inward. And it may not necessarily be that you're doing anything wrong, or it could be, you know, but it may not always be that you're doing something wrong. It may be that you're just not taking care of yourself. You're doing all of the right things. You're loving people as Christ loved the church, right? Like you're loving people, you're being kind, you're being considerate, you are, you know, thinking about others before yourself, which there has to be a balance to that, but you're a selfless person, you're a giver. Like those are all beautiful, wonderful things that people need. But a lot of times when we find ourselves in those situations, it's very easy for us to not be getting what we need. And a lot of that goes back to we're sometimes giving what we didn't receive from other people. And so but a lot of times if that's something that is really heavy on you, it's a gift from God, but the way that sometimes we manipulate it, because we're manipulating it from a not a toxic place, but from a negative place. So God gave you the gift of people to draw to you, but now you overly give or overly love or overly do because you didn't receive that. So now I'm going to almost supersede what really God was asking me to do because I don't want anybody ever to feel the pain that I felt, right? And so then what happens is you're tainting what God put on the inside of you because you're pouring out more than he ever anticipated for you to pour out. So now you don't have anything left to give to him, to give to your assignments that he's blessed you with, right?
I'm about to slap you with this pillow. I'm just about to bop you with this pillow because you just snatched the first row of my edges right here. You just snatched all of them. I have never thought about it that way. That is me. Sorry. That is Tamra. You are
I really feel like God, like a lot of times we are designed. I do believe that everyone has a gift. My gift is not that. So not that to that extent. And I think we've talked about that, like our difference is like I am very friendly and all of that good stuff, but I do prefer to keep my circle very small and like very like this, if that makes my intimate circle. The people who can speak to my life or can speak to me is very few and far between. So, but that's just me as a person. Now, I am a worker bee, you know what I'm saying? I'll work hard for you, I'll help and, you know, do all of that. But like I said before, like if you were to meet us in person, we're going to be very nice, very kind. Like we're going to talk. We're going to ask you questions. Like we're going to have a really great conversation. At the end of the conversation, Tamra is going to invite you to dinner, possibly at her house. Now, I will be willing to attend. But but that is your gift. Like that is your gift.
And the problem with that gift is that those people assume that we are now friends. Because of it, and that's just me naturally, like because that's just who I am. And then I go on about life, and then I'm being told you got so many friends. I'm like, who? Well, that girl was at your house. Okay, you know what I'm saying? That's just a gift of mine. Yeah, I have the gift of love. It's just in me. Yeah, and so it's just how it flows. That's just how it goes. Like that's just who I am, and we laugh about it now. It's funny. As I've gotten older, I'm very specific about because I used to just do it to everybody. Now it's like, okay, well, it's nice to meet you. Okay. And then sometimes the Holy Spirit be like, you know, push forward, and I'll do it. And then sometimes I'll want to do it, but because I fear that I may come off too strong, I won't say nothing. And so I still struggle with that a little bit too. But we laugh about it because it is so true. Yeah, we should go do dinner. Yeah, let's go do dinner. Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah.
See, for me, I pass up on opportunities because I am so guarded. So there are probably possibilities or probably relationships that I probably should have done that with or should have been more open with that I automatically am like, well, God bless you.
And we'll see you.
In all your endeavors. And that's kind of where it stops with me. But I just wanted to like encourage you guys that that's a lot of times if we find ourselves going through the same cycle, that maybe it is time for us to look inward to figure out what spots need to be healed so that the next time I come back around, like when Alexis was talking about, healing being a cycle, when I come back around to the situation again, I have at least one tool to help me not have the same result that I had the first time or the other times that this happened. And so I'm having to work that out now because I am not a very open person. I don't let people into my space as I probably should in some instances or as fast as I probably should because I just don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to expect more than what you're able to give. And I also don't want you to expect more of me.
Right.
When I'm not ready.
But so much.
When I'm not ready. And so it's levels to this. But that comes from a level of hurt. I think that me being in the type of family that I was in and now the family that I'm married into, there needed to be a certain level of me being guarded and being okay with being able to kind of like have those type of boundaries, right? Because you can't allow everybody in your space in those type of situations. However, I think I probably where I took it too far is the few friends that I did let into those space and Lord, I didn't really have friends in elementary school, but like middle school and high school, when I did let people into those space, when I did let boyfriends into that space and felt like I wasn't enough, then in return, I just said, well, then nobody's getting in. Because if I'm not enough to all these different people, then I must not be enough for anybody because all of them were different in their own way. So it's not like I was approaching the same type of people, but I still felt like I ended up with the same result. So my response was, no problem.
Oh, y'all.
Like neon clothes sign, like year round. No problem. Like, I will love you with the love of Christ from over here. In Jesus' name.
I wish I took that approach. It had the opposite effect on me. It made me dig harder because I'm like, why don't you want me? What did I do wrong? And now I'm trying to, but just accept me. Just accept me. So yeah, I had the reverse effect. I didn't shut down. I opened up even more. Because I'm like, I have to give you more of me, and that way you'll accept me.
Because see how wonderful I am?
Yeah, I'm great. But now, child, all it takes is one incident. Oh, okay. I keep on moving. So I know healing has taken place in that area. Because back in the day, you was going to be my friend. Now I'm like, okay.
I know healing has taken place because you and I are friends.
Yeah.
So there's that.
That's
like,
healing.
That is healing. Because I loved you with the love of Christ.
And it was like, oh, Tim, why?
Like that was, and it wasn't being nasty or rude. I didn't think there was anything wrong with you. I was just like, bless the Lord.
Yeah.
And I went right back in my hole with my husband, and that was it, you know? Or even before I was married. Like, I've always been in that space, probably since I wouldn't say since being in college. I think in college is where it began. Like, I really actually started enforcing it. But that's also because when I came to college, I literally knew one person. So, and that was very intentional. When you're moving from a small town and everybody knows everybody, you have one high school, one middle school, 4 elementary schools because you're in the county, but everybody know everybody. Your school counselor went to school with your daddy, was homecoming queen type stuff. I had to get out because I was like, I can't. it's weird because now I realize that maybe I was probably more spiritually in tune with God than I thought I was at that moment. But I knew that I could not heal in that space.
Yeah.
I could not be myself. I couldn't figure myself out in a space where there were too many people that could hold me to who I was before, and all. It was just too much. I needed to get to a space where no one knows your name.
Yeah.
You know, like I had to be able to, you know, and it was. I mean, it had its whatevers, but I'm grateful. Even though I did not plan on staying here as long as I have, I am grateful for the healing and the growth that has happened, and there is a lot more to it, of course, but I am really grateful that I am not showing up the same way that I did before. There's still an unhealed little girl in there, of course, but I'm not showing up as her the way that I did before. So I am like,
and I can see the difference because while we weren't always this close, we've always been cool since college, and so I can see the difference where I can see you actually trying to let the guard down slowly, and I get, and people probably see the opposite of me of letting the guard up. So it's kind of like this, and eventually they'll balance out. But I can see the difference. So I'm proud of you because I know it was hard, and I know we laugh all the time. We'll probably laugh about this until the end of days, but like about how we both were like looking at each other like, love you, girl.
Yeah, looking through the window. Hello. Good morning.
Okay, girl. I mean, working next to each other every single day and still kind of like, you know, and so God, that was a work that God had to do because while I was healing, you were healing, and it just happened that way. So we're going to end it here.
We love y'all.
We love y'all so much because this conversation could keep going.
It really could.
And so we love you guys. We appreciate you guys for watching us, supporting us, following us, and leaving the most genuine, like, sweet, encouraging comments underneath. We appreciate you all. Even those of you who don't comment, but like know us personally and will share things with us, we appreciate that feedback because we need it. Without an audience, we just talking to ourselves, and we can do that off camera. So
very much,
we do it off camera. So there's that. So we love y'all, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you can get notification every time we roll out with something new on this channel.
Yes.
Until next time.
Bye.